All right, so you can see here what we have is part of your worksheet. So you've done up through question 12 on solving multi-step equations. So I'm going to go through some of these for you and then leave the rest as your assignment for today. So let's start with question number 13. Adjust my camera a second. All right, so first step, as we've been doing, is simplifying both sides of the equation. And so what you see here is that I have a kind of a special one. So we have a parentheses we're going to remove first. And so I am going to distribute that 6. And one of the ways I've been dealing with negatives is changing them to plus the opposite. So this is like the plus and negative 3. So we have then negative 18 equals 6 times x plus 6 times a negative 3. And then I have this minus 6x over here. So I now simplify this side, and something interesting happens. We're going to deal with this a lot more when we do equations on both sides next week, but we'll just show it today. So I have a 6x minus a 6x. And so 6 minus 6 is 0, so that makes us 0 times x. Well, 0 times x, I can just go ahead and cancel out, and then I have minus 18. So when this happens, so you have variables dropping out, and you have a statement that is true, these two things are equal. What that means is it doesn't matter what I would have put in for x. I could put anything I want. I could put a 1, I could put a 5, I could put a negative 12. This statement is going to always be true because no matter what I put here, those x's are going to cancel out, and we're left with negative 18 equals negative 18, which is a true statement. And so what we say to that is x can equal anything. And another way that we're going to describe that, because it can equal anything, is that there are an infinite number of solutions. Okay, so let's continue on with some more. So I'm going to do 15. So in 15, we have 37 equals negative 3 plus, I'm going to simplify this side. So I have negative 3 plus 5 times x plus 5 times 6. Well, 5 times x is, of course, 5x. 5 times 6 is 30. And so I'm going to put together this 30 minus 3, and 30 minus 3 simplifies to be 27. So what I have here is 5x plus 27. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation. So you can see this is not like the one above where the x is dropped out. I actually can find one solution for x. I'm going to undo the last operation, which is addition. So I can undo that by subtracting 27 from both sides. Put my line here for my equal. And when I do that, 37 minus 27 is 10 equals 5 times x. So I undo 5 times x by dividing both sides by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2, so I'm left with 2 equals x. If you went and chucked your answer and put it up here, 2 plus 6 is 8. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 minus 3 is 37. All right, going down to number 17. I have a parentheses, so to simplify this side, I'm going to take 4 times a negative x and putting it in parentheses, so I remember it's not 4 minus x, it's 4 times a negative x, plus 4 times 4 equals 12. 4 times a negative x, that means like a negative 1x. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4x, plus 4 times 4 is 16 equals 12. So I'm going to go ahead and solve my equation. I'm going to undo the last operation, the plus 16, by subtracting 16 from both sides. And I'm left with negative 4x. 16 minus 16 cancels. 12 minus 16 is negative 4. So the last thing I'm going to do is undo negative 4. This is negative 4 times x, so I undo multiplication by dividing both sides by a negative 4. X equals negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. And again, if we wanted to check our answer, if I put 1 in here, the opposite of 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. All right, so let's do the last two on this page. I'm going to get rid of the parentheses again, so I have negative 6 times 1. I'm going to change this to plus and negative here. So I have plus a negative 6 times a negative 5v equals 54. We have negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 5v is plus 30v equals 54. And I go ahead and solve my equation. So I'm going to undo this adding a negative 6 or subtracting 6 by adding 6 to both sides. I have 30v. 54 plus 6 is 60. So I go ahead and divide both sides by 30. And we get v equals 2. Just like before, if you wanted to go back and check, you plug it back in for v in the first line, and you would find that that does work. All right, so I'm going to do one more. I'm not going to actually do this one because that's a pretty simple one, just like the ones we've been doing. But I'm going to go ahead across the page and do one from the other column. Where we have some adding of like terms, not a parentheses. Let me just adjust my camera here. So let's look at question number 20. So on question 20, you're going to see that I don't have any parentheses to remove. However, I do have like terms, okay? And so I'm going to go ahead and put a negative 1 in front there to remind me. My like terms are 4x minus 1x minus 3x. Okay, so let's be careful there. 4 minus 1 is 3. And 3 minus 3x. Let's look at that again. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 minus 3x. Okay, so I have 8 minus 8. And then I have plus 3x minus 3x. And normally I don't write that out, but this is something interesting that happens. That happened at the beginning of the video again. All right, so what are we seeing here? 3x minus 3x is 0x. So what I have is a 0x, and I'm left with this statement, -8 equals -8. Okay, so if you've been paying attention, hopefully you remember, what does this mean? So up above, when we started the notes, we said what that meant is it wouldn't matter what I put in for x, because these x's are going to end up canceling out. I can put any number in for x, and I would get this statement, which is a true statement. So what that means is x can be anything. And so I'm going to write here, my conclusion is there are an infinite number of solutions for x. Okay, so your assignment today is going to be to finish the problems that we didn't do yet. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems for you to do, not too long. And so I'll post that again on the classroom, but it'll be 21, 14, 16, 18, and 22 are going to be left for you to finish on your own.